Even the second season G managed to really up the ante in spectacle, while not forgetting the story that keeps things coherent. Hint freaking hint.
Buckle in, boys! It's go time! Now, while I already made it clear in last week's video, I think I'm well off by stating again that I unconditionally love this series. To expand on my points from last time, Symphogear was not just my first foray into less magical girl anime, but it was also the first franchise I actively followed. Yeah, I'd seen multiple seasons of Precure at that point, but I was not on any sort of track where that franchise was going. After Symphogear G, however, I was on top of that shit. I could go really deeply into detail here, but I want to keep this introductory segment somewhat short, so I'll simply say that this season of Symphogear was the first time I truly interacted with an anime outside of watching the show. While I do in many points prefer Season 1, in terms of simple experience, G was, in my case, the far superior show on a first watch. With all that said, let's get into this and see how that experience holds up 10 years later. So, keeping it similar to the overview from last week, this time around, instead of a bookend opener, we start the series with a flashback scene, and oh boy, what a flashback scene it is. Symphogear G ramps up the amount of dead girls from 1 to 3, and then decides to switch one of them into Sad Girl and another into Warmongering Girl? Well, whoever this mom character is, she sure seems important and way too villainous for this show to be the actual villain. This first episode too tries to give us whiplash, but instead of using last season's literal roller coaster, G instead uses simple jump cuts between the noise-shredding action of Hibiki and Chris defending a train and a vocal piece, as well as a concert between Tsubasa and sad girl Maria Kadenzavna Eve. Wait, are you fucking serious? That's her name?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, that's like if some French royalty married into a Slavic family. Like, seriously, what the absolute fuck? Well, Hibiki and Chris managed to deliver the relic they were transporting, though not without incident. Tsubasa's streak of bad luck continues, as this concert too is cut short by a noise attack. This time around, however, they're under full human control, simply holding the audience hostage. Transitioning into episode 2, we are shown 2 more gear users that are part of this organization, just as sad cat girl Maria reveals herself to not only be part of this villain group, but also wield the Gungnir-based Symphogear, as well as being the leader of... Wait, okay, I'm getting some serious deja vu from this conversation right now, but are you fucking serious?
Yeah.
But what's happened to believe in the song that lives in your heart? Okay, well, it seems like all stops are pulled out for this season, which at least means we get some more amazing gear-on-gear battles, which were already one of my favorite parts of the original season, but what's next? Hibiki being able to absorb and utilize foreign Zeshous as a replacement for being unable to materialize in armed gear? You are fucking kidding me! As G runs along, a whole boatload of things happen. Not only do we get a full-on terrorist organization as our new villains, consisting of Mommy Stockholm Syndrome, Edgy Cat Girl, that weird kid with Heelys, Death to My Ears, and me on a Saturday night out, we also find out that our new 3 gear users are also not actually Fine, not Fine either, and totally not Fine. At the same time... Wait a second, what the fuck? At the same time, Hibiki gets her arm bitten off and needs to stop using her Symphogear halfway through the season because it being fused with her body and everything poses a threat to her life because the gear is taking over her body more and more as she uses it, resulting in a situation that ends up driving Miku to the side of the villains with the sentiment to keep Hibiki from fighting, who then give her her own gear, which the villains abuse to raise this universe's equivalent of Atlantis from the bottom of the ocean and use it to play around with the moon some more. Just give me a second here.
Can someone please tell me what Kaneko was on while writing this and where I can get some myself? Seriously, Jesus Christ, what the fuck?
Yeah, this season is definitely the one where the one thing that most people appreciate about Symphogear started. The Uribe, the hype as fuck fighting and set pieces. G takes what made Season 1 palatable to the aforementioned most people and turns it into the juicy, melt-in-your-mouth treat that Symphogear is known for being today. Of course, all of the positive things from the original seasons are there and turned up all the way to 11. We get an array of 5 new great characters, all villainous ones that, while being very tropey, are still nuanced and have facets to their personalities. The story goes absolutely off the charts in terms of spectacle, hype, and scope. The art and animation can finally rival that of many bigger, more renowned productions, and the soundtrack, well, actually, the soundtrack is a little worse in my opinion. I know I'm in the minority here, but I don't like the OST of G as much as that of the first season. Don't get me wrong, it still absolutely rules, but it doesn't scream Symphogear to me as much as the original one, or that of any other season for that matter. And to compound that issue with a much more popular opinion, despite all the praise I've already heaved onto this season, it also marks a turning point for the now franchise that Symphogear is, to the delight of some and the despair of others. My one big complaint about Season 1 was the sheer magnitude of an asshole that the final closing scene is, even mentioning the manga, which doesn't miraculously bring back our main characters and just ends when they explode in space to save humanity. However, this obviously isn't possible if you want to keep the characters around and write a sequel. While that is already bad enough by itself, G lowers the stakes even further, and we hear many more Zeshous from here on out. While this is justifiable in universe, the way their usage here contrasts their extremely dramatic implementation in Season 1 really devalues it as what it was introduced to us as in the very first episode of the entire franchise. A wielder's final song, one capable of releasing such massive amounts of energy that it not only serves as an extremely powerful weapon and trump card in battle, but also one that will burn their own life away. Okay, so I just want to put up an intermission here, because I can't really think of anything more to put here that's worthwhile to the point of this video. Everyone is caught up on what happened in G, and I went over its improvements, changes, and downfalls from the original season. However, I've encountered something incredibly special while rewatching this show when I originally wrote this video 5 years ago. A feeling I've never felt before. I didn't get this feeling during my Season 1 rewatch, or any other pass I did over any other season of Symphogear, or any other anime for that matter. Be that before or since then. Now, it took me an incredibly long time to figure out what this feeling was, but I wanted to know what it was. So, after finishing the season, writing up bullet points for the script and making my scores of slightly lowered and 5 out of 5 questionable fashion senses, I started reflecting on this feeling, the season, and my countless experiences and memories with it. The name for this feeling is often thrown around with very little meaning, almost like the disorders of OCD or anxiety. It was a feeling longing for an experience I couldn't have anymore, sparked by entering a state where I did have that experience, even if only for a split second, enabled by somehow blocking out everything around me and being able to enter such a deep state of immersion that my memories could fill in the rest. It hit me like a rock. This feeling? It was nostalgia.